All right, so we are moving into our round robin presentation. First of all, I want to shout out Martha, Allison, Raman for putting this together as the H2E2 initiative that we started, I want to say about 2 years ago, possibly, maybe a little less than 2 years ago. So the four of us have been working diligently to really put hip hop education at the forefront as a collective. Individually, we've all been doing this for many, many years, but collectively, this H2E2 initiative is recent, relatively speaking, and it calls on all of our respective experiences and practices to really bring hip hop education to the forefront in a way that has never been done before. A little background information about me, Sebastien Elkouby, also known as Seb, and I started out in the early 80s, really wearing many hats, practicing all the elements of hip hop culture as a young b-boy, DJing, beatboxing, um, getting into MCing, beat making, et cetera, from the 80s to the 90s. Then I eventually started working kind of behind the scenes in the industry again, wearing many, many hats, um, from doing A&R to publicity to journalism, and a bunch of other things that sometimes I just have to sit back and think to myself, oh, yeah, I guess I did that, huh? Okay. Um, in around 2000, my partner and I started something called the Foundation for the Study of Hip Hop Consciousness, which was our first attempt at really bring hip hop education to schools, to high schools more specifically. And in 2001, we actually started facilitating workshops at different high schools throughout LA and surrounding areas. Um, Started doing a lot of presentations, panels, keynotes from 2003, 4, 5, and in 2006, I was fortunate enough to be given an opportunity to work with Kanye West, who was at the time, he had something called the Loop Dreams Initiative, which was a class that he was creating and that he had partnered with a school in LA to use hip hop as an educational tool. So they brought me in to help develop their curriculum because they had seen some of my presentations. They had followed the work that I was doing in LA, and they brought me in to help develop this curriculum. I only worked with Kanye for one semester before Kanye did what Kanye does, and after that, I ended up just really being, thanks to Kanye, regardless of what I think, because of his name and his ability to make those connections with people that I wouldn't be able to without the name recognition. I was able to get into schools and have a much stronger foothold than I had prior to my work with Kanye. So pretty much from 2006 to now, I've been a full-time hip hop educator working with middle school and high school students and teaching hip hop culture as a full-time course. So it's not an after-school program or some sort of extracurricular activity. Since 2006, it's been a regular class taught during regular school hours, in the beginning as an elective. Um, in the early days, I was able to bring in guests like KRS-One, MC Light, local LA icons like Medusa. And because of my work in the entertainment industry, I was actually KRS-One's publicist for some time. So I had access to a lot of people in hip hop. So that made it a little easier for me to bring in people in the classroom to speak to the students. Um, to bringing it to where I am today, View Park High School, which is in South Central on the corner of Crenshaw and Slauson. I've been with View Park High School for 7 years now, and I've been teaching a class that I authored called Global Awareness Through Hip Hop Culture. Global awareness through hip hop culture is really an opportunity to teach hip hop, um, but in a way where I use different mediums, different tools, different strategies to help students expand their global horizons, their global understanding, but all through hip hop. A few years ago, it became a UC CSU approved college preparatory class taught at a high school level. And of course, as the holder of an AME CTE credential, it is also a career tech class because it is the first course to pathway in music production or beat making. All right, so what is global awareness through hip hop culture? Global awareness introduces students to hip hop culture's rich history as a culturally relevant medium to explore career pathways in arts, media, and entertainment, while becoming socially aware, media literate artists, content creators, and global citizens. Using hip hop culture, students are able to express themselves in a space that respects and affirms their identities, cultures, and interests through rap, beat making, podcasting, creative writing, and a variety of other forms of expression. Currently, Global Awareness provides context for beginners digital music production and advanced digital music production, which follows this course. So Global Awareness is the first course, beginners music production follows it, and it concludes with advanced music production. Right, and it's a foundational course that can be used to inform and prepare students for a variety of AME pathways. What's important about global awareness through hip hop culture is it gives students context. It gives students a source to draw from when they go on to digital music production. As you may or may not know, working with teenagers today within hip hop, their understanding of hip hop is often very limited to what the mainstream media shows them or defines as being hip hop. So it's our job as elders or as hip hop purists for some of us to really let them know what hip hop culture is and how hip hop can be used as a socially relevant tool, as a tool of personal growth and empowerment in an ideal way, a way to make the world a better place, right? This informs them so that when they move into music production, now they can draw from those experiences and become more media literate, more empowered, more expressive artists, because that's kind of what we're lacking in my esteem. Here are some examples. This is the classroom right here. So just some candid pictures, class discussions, digital music production. So students all have MacBooks. We're using Machine and MIDI keyboards. Actually, in the next couple of weeks, I'll be getting all new equipment, all new machines, all new keyboards. And what's great about the class is we have a recording studio built into the classroom, right? Where students are able to actually live out their dreams. A lot of the students like to go inside the booth and take pictures for Instagram, just so they can flex a little bit. Like, I'm in the booth, I'm in the studio, check me out, but it's a really nice experience because it gives them that professional feel, which is what students who are interested in pursuing a career in audio production will need to have as they move forward. Also, for students who might not be necessarily interested in pursuing music production or beat making, we have other avenues for them to still focus on the technical aspect of audio production with podcasting. So you see 3 of my students from before the pandemic, obviously, who were in studio and who were producing their own podcast called Blurds, which stands for Black Nerds. This is so their show catered to the more alternative viewpoints, those that mainstream media doesn't necessarily focus on. So they wanted to be that alternative voice. We were able to do about 3 shows before the pandemic hit, and then that was a wrap. Learning in action. So in class, a lot of students, we get to go on a lot of field trips. Students get to not just meet people behind the scenes or celebrities, but they get to have hands-on experiences. As you can see, one of my former students, Gia, here working with a DJ, and you can see she's a little apprehensive to touch the controller. But this gives students hands-on opportunities and just gets them out of the classroom, right? Students don't want to be confined to a classroom at all times, no matter how fun the class may be. So some sample lessons that students will have throughout the course of the school year, and I'll just go over about 3 of them. So for example, students will compare and contrast the top Billboard, rap, pop, and R&B artists to create a chart outlining the differences and similarities in subject matter between given music genres. Another one, students will write a 3-paragraph essay that answers the following question. Should an artist be held accountable for the negative images and messages they glorify, or should they have unfiltered artistic freedom to express themselves however they see fit? Another one, students will pretend they're famous artists ready to release a new album and will design a poster, billboard, or ad promoting their latest project. And then lastly, students will research a career of their choice and create a presentation which includes information regarding required education, related college majors, job market, salary potential, job responsibilities, growth potential, and notable leaders in the fields. Obviously, the class is an entire school year, so this is just a really small snapshot of everything we do during the school year. As working with H2E2, I've been given this unique opportunity to help train artists who are interested in getting their CTE credential. And this is our first cohort of the Global Awareness Through Hip Hop Culture program. So the cohort was created to address the teacher shortage and retention issues in high need schools by establishing a pipeline for aspiring teaching artists, advisory partners, and hip hop professionals interested in becoming a credentialed CTE teachers in AME, or arts, media, and entertainment. So the 8 people that you see here are all artists, MCs, producers, dancers, graphic artists, but their backgrounds are all hip hop. They've been part of hip hop. They are hip hop, and they've chosen to explore education as a pathway to share their hip hop and their careers with the next generation. So a great thing is that out of the 8 people who are part of the cohort, 2 of them now were hired by my school, View Park High School. So we're now able to demonstrate that the training that this cohort has received during a very difficult year has actually started to produce some results in light of how challenging this year has been. So this is just proof that what we're doing is working and it's producing some tangible results. And I don't know if there's are any questions in the chat. Like I said, I couldn't see anything. All right, I feel seen. Are the shows online? The shows were online. They were on SoundCloud, but again, because of the pandemic, we kind of dropped the ball. But I can send you some of those episodes, and you can check them out. Let me see. Blurs, yeah. All right, I want to show you guys one last thing. This is some media coverage that we received. Again, before the pandemic, obviously.
Hip hop in high school. I'm Ryan Blackshear Vargas in Los Angeles, where the teacher in the classroom right behind me is using music as a way to teach kids about their past and their future.
Today's lesson is coming from the speaker. Students are head down and ears open, listening to a song called Acknowledge Your Own History by Jungle Brothers. The lyrics include this line: "My forefather was a king. He wore fat gold chains and fat ruby rings." So teacher Sebastien Elkouby follows up the song with a video about Egyptian kings and queens. It's a typical lesson in the Global Awareness Through Hip Hop class at View Park Preparatory Charter High School.
For today especially, we learned about African culture before slavery, or what you read about. So this gave me more courage. This gave me more of an idea of I'm more than just what they want to put in front of me. I was royalty at one point, and it gives me a sense of pride.
Ave is one of a dozen students in this elective class, which discusses everything from history to politics to pop culture through the lens of hip hop. It's taught by Mr. Elkouby, who's spent a lot of time with rappers over the years, rappers like Method Man and Notorious B.I.G. He used to be a publicist, but quit when he became disillusioned by the music industry. But his love for hip hop remained.
So everything that hip hop did for me, everything that hip hop culture taught me, I wanted to be able to create a class that would do the same for students today.
The class introduces students to hip hop pioneers and artists with songs on the radio today, but the focus is beyond the music.
Yeah, we learn about hip hop artists too, but we don't focus mainly on the artist. We focus on the message that they're trying to send.
Messages like investment in entrepreneurship, amplified by the late Nipsey Hussle, who died at his marathon store right across the street from their school. Mr. Elkouby says hip-hop is the vehicle he uses to help his students to think critically about the world around them.
If you're looking at topics alone, there's a song for everything. So if I wanted to do a lesson on GMOs, for example, right, or food or health, there's a song for that. If I wanted to talk about, say, fracking or renewable energy, I could find a song for that. So a lot of things that people wouldn't necessarily associate with hip hop, it's easy to do it. It's easy to open up those kind of conversations when you're using hip hop as a springboard.
He's working on spreading the class to other schools across California. The goal is for more students like Ave to be more conscious, thanks to conscious rap.
I was never really a person who looked at myself, so it helped me do that, and it helped me connect with more people.
Connection wrapped up in music.
All right. All right. I guess that concludes my my presentation. So I see there are some questions. Aaron asked, how are you incorporating gamified virtual reality experience into your curriculum? At this point, I'm not right now. There's, the thing about global awareness through hip hop culture and digital music production, it's a living curriculum. So there's always an opportunity to add more and more to it. But at this point, this hasn't been something that I've been doing. Ben, could you get a copy of the slides? Absolutely. Yes, definitely. Yeah. Hit me up after this and we'll connect. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time. And if you need to reach out to me, I can put my email address here, but I won't hold anybody else up for their presentations. And peace, everybody. Thank you.